Hello, Anne Merrill here with more green noise for you. Today I am going to talk about yarrow, whatever, Achillea millefolium. So, yarrow is amazing because it is such an ancient healing herb. It is, first off, it is circumarboreal. I love that word. That means it grows anywhere where there's forest and trees, all the way in a band around the earth, the northern hemisphere. So it's native all across Russia, all across Europe, all the way across Canada and the America, Anyway, it grows all over the place. It's really easy to find because it grows often under trees or in sort of well, no, that's true. It could grow like out in the middle of a field as well. It's all over the place, and but I used to find it in ditches a lot in Austin, Texas. So it's okay in a hot climate. It's okay in a cold climate. It usually has some green leaves on it all through the year, unless it's really intense drought or uh, a lot of snow and ice and so forth. But most of the time, you can find it up and green. And it was used, I mean, they find it in Neanderthal burial mounds. It's in everybody's materia medica and in everybody's list of herbs they use all across the earth, basically. And part of the reason for that, I think, is that its action is so obvious. If you cut yourself, as we all do from time to time, and you take some yarrow leaves and chew them up and make it kind of a poultice, a spit poultice, and you put it on there, it stops bleeding immediately. It's really pretty remarkable. And if you've done this, it's also going to be much less likely to get infected. It's anti-infective, and so um, I think it's easy for us as modern people to underestimate how important it is to not get infected in the first place because we have antibiotics, but throughout most of the time that there's been humans and even other kinds of Neanderthals and so forth, not getting infected in the first place is an incredibly life-saving measure. So, uh, yeah, I used to work at the pagan shop called Natural Magic in Austin, Texas, and people, every now and then somebody come in and they just cut themselves because people are always wearing flip-flops in Texas, and people get little cuts on their feet all the time. And if people come in every now and then with something bleeding, I'll just go outside and grab some yarrow and tell them to chew it up and put it on there. And which was always fun because instead of trying to sell them something in the store, I was like, hey, here's this weed in the yard. And they were always amazed by the results of it because it also stops the pain immediately as well as the bleeding. And so, then I'd always say, like, are you convinced now the herbs are magic? So it's a very magical herb. Um, Actually, I want to put up a picture of its place on my altar, a unique place by itself because it really stands alone. It looks that way too. It grows these really tall flower stalks that just kind of pop up. Um, and I guess those stalks are what is traditionally used to throw the I Ching, the fortune-telling system that is from China. So what else do I want to say about it? Okay, the reason that I have this oil on my altar, I made this many, many years ago, and I still have this one bottle. I use it all the time because it's yarrow, whatever. It hasn't gone bad. It just smells like yarrow flower. That's great. Um, I use it. I mean, I think of yarrow is a sort of magic protective herb, and it's true both on this very mundane, obvious physical level of stopping bleeding immediately, but it kind of makes me feel safer and more protected in the world. It's a good friend that's everywhere, and it's named for Achilles, the warrior healer, which makes a lot of sense because it's great for wounds. And Okay, so using it internally as a tea and so forth. Um, well, first of all, it's bitter, so it stimulates the digestion and it stimulates the immune system and just, again, all over protective effect. And as it goes along the digestive tract, it helps to heal any injuries along the surface of the digestive tract. So that's great. My teacher, Michael Moore, he talked about it as the plant that puts fluids where they belong. So if blood's in the wrong place, if lymph's in the wrong place, or if the interstitial fluid, the fluid that surrounds the cells outside of the circulatory system, um, if that's in the wrong place, if you have it swelling and edema, that just basically trying to get the fluids to go where they are supposed to be. I think Yarrow. And uh, and the flower, hot tea of the flower to bring on a sweat, especially if you get in a hot bath and drink a lot of hot Yarrow tea, you will sweat like crazy. And then it's a great first thing to do when you're trying to knock out a cold or flu. You have to be a little careful with that. Make sure you have enough energy in the first place to do something such a powerful treatment. But if you're pretty strong overall, but you just feel like you're getting cold or flu, that's a great thing to do to just knock it out. And well, I thought I had a cold, but I guess I didn't. Maybe the herbs worked. Um, Yarrow, 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 Yarrow. What more am I going to say? I think I'll leave it at that for right now with Yarrow. It's a great one to just get to know, to be able to recognize in the wild, look it up. Um, its scent is so distinctive that even if you're not sure that you're looking at the right plant, once you pick it and smell it, oh, okay, this is or is not Yarrow. It's pretty easy to learn, pretty easy to find, and just a very like just a really good direct first aid plant to just have in your knowledge bank so that anytime you are out and about and cut yourself, you can take that measure to ensure that it's going to heal much better. Alrighty, that's all I have for now. Take care. Bye bye.